What are some of the tools that you find to be the most helpful for people in terms of, it's like, if not brownies, then what, Yeah.
That's if not brownies, what are we going to do? I have a guide called Crush-Your-Cravings, and
Mm.
it's a four-step guide to crush your cravings. And one of the tools in there is fast, but there's actually 4 tools to deal with cravings. And like what we're dealing with here is our struggle to emotionally regulate ourselves around food. And
Yeah.
so some of the simplest tools are like the ability to surf the urge. I'm sure you use that expression for urge surfing, where
Yeah.
just recognizing that maybe changing your language. You're not starving. You're not dying of hunger.
Oh,
So removing the alarmist language, because that also informs our behaviors. So
sure.
if we say I'm starving, that justifies in this moment, this is a life-threatening emergency. I'll just eat whatever. Again, it would seem like it's counterintuitive. And instead of saying eat more vegetables and eat more protein and hydrate better and stuff like that, that I'm saying get in touch with what's driving your behaviors, because ultimately that's the secret behind like lasting weight loss.
Yeah. So it makes me think, because I really have a belief that like modern foods are driving the obesity epidemic, and the way that they do like damage our metabolic health and our self-regulation. But I feel like your approach kind of begs the question of what's happening with coping mechanisms with people and the obesity epidemic. Is it that like we've lost coping mechanisms and that's part of what's driving it? Or is it that like the world is harder to cope with and that's part of what's driving it? Or is it that our coping mechanisms are the same as they used to be, but but like the metabolic damage problem is really just the driver, and yet mindset is important for helping us get out of it? Does that question make sense?
It does. Well, you've asked about 4 questions in one, which is like, again, so many
Yeah.
cool things to unpack here. So the coping mechanisms, maybe the coping response hasn't changed. The
Yeah.
desire to seek out a way to change the channel in your head.
Uh,
The accessibility of abundantly cheap junk food that
yes.
solves that problem is what has changed.
Sure.
If you were to go to like a rehab clinic and just set up an alcohol shop across the road,
Hmm. Hmm.
you're just making life a lot harder.